that he has an idea that might get them home. Baby, why would you say that to your daughter? You ain't got no idea that might get us home. You have an assumption and a theory, and you're going to just go out and try to get information. None of that sounds like I have a plan that could get us home. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be recapping episode 8 of the series From. Now, at the top of this episode, we see Kenny and his mom in the kitchen. It's early in the morning. Everyone else is asleep. His mom is cooking something on the stove. And all of a sudden, the phone rings. And, you know, the phones in this town don't work. I guess we just have them hanging up on the wall as decor. But him and his mom are just kind of sitting there a little shocked and bewildered for a minute. And his mom ends up telling him she thinks he should answer the phone. But I am of the mind, baby, don't answer the phone. Number one, I just kind of feel like no good can come of it. And number two, I'm thinking about that movie with Renee Zellweger where she had that little foster child that was actually like the devil or something. And they had old boy answer the phone. And like the little bugs came in through the phone and got all in his ear and was coming all out his nose. That's what I was thinking. So I was like, Kenny, bro, do not put that phone to your ear. But Kenny answers the phone and there's some kind of whispering going on. I don't know what they were saying. Couldn't have been nothing good. But Kenny ends up hanging up the phone. And then we hear like the water on the stove is like boiling whatever his mom was cooking. But Kenny turns and there are these like bugs. I am not a bug connoisseur. I thought it was locusts. I thought it was like grasshoppers, because ain't it grasshoppers that you hear outside making that little noise? I always thought it was grasshoppers, but I don't know. But the like boiling water, was it the boiling water that jumped on his arm, or was it the bug? And we find out he's just dreaming. This is irking my nerves. So this is the new trick they pulling out of their hat with this show, is giving us a bunch of dream sequences, which is irking my motherfucking nerves. So Kenny was just dreaming. He was like asleep on the sofa or something like that. But when he wakes up, he actually has the burn on his arm that he got in his dream. So it seemed like we in like a new Nightmare on Elm Street part of this universe where like stuff is happening in folks' dreams, but like you wake up and it's like something has come from the dream. Like you were able to pull something from the dream or whatever, like scar or hurt or wound that you got in a dream. Once you wake up, it's like it wasn't just a dream, like it's real, it's actually coming out. So we then end up seeing Ronald. Wait, is his name Ronald? Randall. Whatever his name, child. Y'all, I told y'all this man was going to be trouble from the start. Like, I told y'all. But anyway, we have Randall and Jim. And remember they doing their little antenna thing with the drone. And Jim wants Randall to fly it higher. But Randall was like, well, that's as high as it go. Y'all, what was the point of this? Because that mug wasn't even as tall as the trees. Like, we needed something taller than the trees. That's why we put the antenna on Colony House. Then we went for the drone because Jim thought it could go high. But that mug did not even get as high as the trees. What was the point? What was we doing this for? Like, y'all, whatever. So then we end up with Ronald or Randall? Randall. I had to look at my note. Randall. Why do I keep trying to call him Ronald? I don't know. Maybe because he act like a clown. But anyway, So Randall is coming up with this whole thing of like, kind of, what's the point of this? If you do, talk to them, if you do get the antenna running, what makes you think the people running this place would want to talk to you? And Jim, dumbass, is just like, well, they talked to me before. So Randall is kind of like, okay, well, are they trying to help? Are they trying to hurt? Because if somebody wanted to help, they would find a way to contact you. And Jim is just kind of not trying to hear it. I told y'all, Jim don't want to hear nothing that ain't like his voice, that ain't his opinion, that isn't whatever he thinks. Because Randall questions actually was making some sense. Like, you think people is running the show and you trying so hard to try to figure out a way to contact them. But if they wanted to talk to you, they would contact you. And if you do get in contact, like, what do you think is going to come of? Like, these are logical questions to be asked, but Jim don't want to hear it. He just like, Randall, if you don't want to help, then just say that. But Randall was like, I ain't saying I don't want to help. Now, for that millisecond, Randall made a little sense with his questions. Then he go back to just being the two dumb stooges that these two are. And Randall's new theory is, how do you know the people that died really died? Like, yeah, we saw old boy body, but I ain't get close enough to see if it was real. So the new theory that Jim is actually on board for, like Jim actually buying this ish, is that because Randall tries to say, well, who do you know here who has died? He's like, Father Cartry died. Well, did you see it happen? Sarah's brother died, and Randall was just pretty much like, what if the people who died are actually in on this? Because he think that is just so smart and just like a light bulb that went off, and that is just the brightest idea. Kind of along the lines of last episode with Jim, was just like, well, that's what they want you to think. Well, that's what they want you to see. That's pretty much the wave that Randall is on with this whole, the people ain't really dead who you think died. And Jim is in agreement, like, oh, that's why when you first get here, they don't want you to, have the blinds and the window shades open. They don't want you to see what's happening at night. We don't actually see what the monsters are out here doing. Y'all, I really can't with these two clowns. So the theory is that the people who we think have died haven't actually died. The monsters don't actually come from the forest and kill anybody. I guess their theory is the monsters just so happen to kill people that are in on this experiment, and they don't really die. I guess they just get out the game. So the theory is that, Sarah just so happened to kill her brother, and the brother just so happened to come over in the nick of time before she killed Joe's son. So they want to go talk to Sarah because they think Sarah in on it and her brother ain't really dead, child. That's the theory. So then we cut to Boyd and Sarah comes in, and I don't know if it's just me, y'all. I feel like the editing is starting to really annoy me. The way they cut from one story to another, it doesn't feel very seamless. It feels very abrupt. Like, there are times when they'll cut to people and we'll literally get like 90 seconds and then they cut to something else. And it's like, you kind of don't even get to have the scene finish a thought yet, and we jump into somebody else. I don't know. Is it just me, y'all? I feel like it's very choppy and very weird how they're editing this, and we're just jumping around. It could just be me. But anyway, Sarah goes to see Boyd, and she pretty much wants to go back out into the forest. She wants to pack a bag, take a talisman, that he had this idea of going out to find answers, and maybe they just didn't get far enough. And I'm kind of on board with Sarah. Like, we had an idea and we kind of just tossed it to the wayside because we hit trouble. Like, it's not that Boyd isn't still trying to, figure stuff out and get us out of here. He is. But I didn't think Sarah had a bad idea. at all. We have already proven the theory that we are safe in like a tent, whatever, with the totem. So I don't see the harm in her going out into the woods. It was kind of starting to come off as Boyd just being controlling, because what's the rhyme or reason for why she can't go? And she tries to tell him, nobody wants her in town, and he tries to tell her that it's a difference between going in the woods and running away from the town. Who cares if she want to run away from the town? Like, who cares if she wants to run away from how people are treating her? You're the leader, like, to try to keep order and keep people from dying and get us home, but you're not like the boss of folks. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, baby, if I want to go for a stroll in the woods, that's my biz naive. I didn't really understand Boyd not letting Sarah go out into the woods. Obviously, I understand because he feels like has a connection to this place or whatever. The same reason he was trying to keep her alive. But at the same time, who cares if she want to run away from how these people is treating her? Like, I agree with Sarah. She can't just sit up in the church all day, every day, just doing nothing. She wants to be useful. She wants to find something to do. But Boyd pretty much nixed her idea. And I also feel like it's a good idea because we still should explore and see what is further out there. But he pretty much tells her to just hold tight. He gonna find a way for her to be useful, find something for her to do. Now, we end up seeing Jade and Tabitha at the opening of the cave because remember, Tabitha and Jade were talking about the visions that they have had and the stuff they've seen, and she was talking about seeing that symbol that Jade keeps seeing. She saw it in those tunnels. So we're at the mouth of this cave and she's talking to him about all of that, and she mentions that Victor was in the cave with her and he as well saw the symbols, and Jade gets all riled up because we had this deal and I played the violin and you were supposed to tell me everything about this symbol. But I honestly didn't feel like, on one hand, I do be annoyed with Victor not giving info, but on the other hand, I didn't feel like this was like massive info. Like, okay, I saw that symbol drawn in the tunnels, but do I know anything about who drew it in the tunnels, what it's doing in the tunnels? Like, it ain't like I have no information about it. I mean, at least as a viewer, I don't feel like Victor really has much info in regards to seeing that symbol in the tunnels. Like, he pointed it out to Tabitha, as she said, but I don't know. I didn't feel like that was a massive, like, omitting of information. I told you about the guy that saw the symbol. I told you about how he changed, went crazy, killed everybody. I pretty much gave you the pertinent info when it comes to that symbol, but I could be wrong, but that's just how I felt. Now, we end up cutting and seeing Victor going over to Kenny Mom's house, which is where Ethan and everybody is living. And Julie answers the door. And for some reason, Victor is very uncomfortable. He doesn't want to go in the house. He just wants to stay on the porch. And I kind of feel like he likely knew someone who lived there that died. I don't know. It just felt like there was a reason that he didn't want to go in the house. I feel like he felt uncomfortable or something like that, but he waits outside on the porch and Ethan comes out, and remember, we're friends again. And Victor gives Ethan a coat because he said it's starting to get cold. You're going to need a coat. You're going to need a jacket. And it's a jacket that Victor had when he was a child. And then Ethan goes to give Victor a picture that he drew of himself, and Victor gets a little upset. He gets kind of, wound up because he's like, no, pictures are for, things that are gone so we don't forget. And Ethan is just like, well, if something happens to me, I wouldn't want you to forget me. But Victor is like really upset, and he's just like, I told you not to talk like that. But Ethan kind of is upset. He's like, well, I'm not taking your jacket if you don't take my picture. So this is kind of around the time when Julie comes out and she's like, we're going to the diner, to help Kenny's mom, and Ethan asks Victor if he wants to go, and Victor says yes, and he goes and tags along with them to the diner. Then we see Boyd and Ellis, and this is another example of what I mean, where it's like we just keep getting, like, we get a sliver of something and we cut to something else. Boyd goes to see Ellis for like 90 seconds, and he's talking to Ellis about, should you be up and around? Did you go see Christy? And Boyd is shocked to see, Ellis up and stuff. And Ellis says Christy was just as shocked, which leads me to believe like he's healing miraculously. And Boyd is asking about, like, you know, Dale and different stuff like that, and doesn't seem very happy with the fact that Boyd is in the house and just locked in a room or whatever. And Ellis goes to, like, I got news, I gotta tell you something. Donna pops up and Ellis is just like, well, I'll tell you later. And then we just kind of cut from that and we go to Boyd and Donna. But I don't like that. Like, why did you just give us that little sliver of Ellis and his dad? I just kind of feel like it could just be me. But anyway, Donna and Boyd then have a conversation about Elgin. So we know the way last episode cut off, I said, is Elgin really gonna be dead, or is this another stupid dream sequence? It was another stupid dream sequence. Donna tells Boyd that Elgin almost drowned in his sleep. So then Boyd goes to see Elgin. And I feel like I might have did I just call Elgin Ellis? I feel like I'd be mixing up their names, but Elgin, if I said Ellis, I meant Elgin. Boyd goes to talk to Elgin and asks him about what happened, and Elgin pretty much runs through, I was sitting in the bath and head got pushed underwater, somebody shook me awake, and when he woke up, he coughed up water. So y'all know the Nightmare on Elm Street dreams, Kenny got burnt or whatever. The burn it happened in a dream, but he got a scar in real life. Elgin was being drowned in a dream, woke up, and the water was coughing out of him in real life. So we got that little thing happening. So then we have Ethan, Julie, and Victor at the diner with Kenny's mom. And Ethan finds like this toy or something in the jacket pocket, and he brings it over to Victor, who's like, where did you get this from? And Ethan is like, it was just in the pocket. And it flashes Victor back to a memory of his mom handing that to him. And this is when Jay busts in the diner with Tabitha. Jay don't know how to talk to folk. Jay don't know how to do nothing. Jay don't know you're supposed to catch bees with honey and not vinegar. Like, he just don't know how to act. Jay ain't got no types of home training. And he's just very aggressive, running up on poor little Victor like, you were supposed to tell me everything you know. And everything you know, everything you've seen, you need to tell us. Don't you want to go home? Chasing Victor out the diner, Tabitha trying to get him to chill. And Victor said something that I already concluded, something that I don't know why every single solitary person in town who know Victor been here since he a child, I don't know why they can't seem to conclude the same thing. When Jade is like, don't you want to go home? Victor says, this is my home. Duh. Like, everybody else has something to get back to except Victor. So using that whole, don't you want to get home, that ain't no carrot to dangle in front of Victor. Then we end up seeing Randall and Jim, child. When I tell y'all, they is really running around like the two stooges. I can't, first of all, y'all already know I can't stand Jim. I couldn't stand Jim in season 1. And Randall is irking my nerves even more. So they go to the church to see Sarah, because remember, they got their little theory. Is Sarah brother really dead? And they just having this conversation, and Jim trying to be tactful, you know what I mean? He trying to maneuver in a way to get the information they want. You think Randall, dumbass, bullheaded behind, can do any of that? No. So they pretty much trying to run down, where were you going? Where were you coming from? Like, where were you coming from? Where were you on the way to when you ended up here? And Sarah wanna like, why y'all asking me these questions? And Jim is just like, oh, we're just trying to figure out if there is any connection to how everybody ends up here. And then they go into, so you and your brother were close, huh? And Jim says, I want to talk about what happened that day at the barn. Sarah's just like, I don't want to talk about that. And Jim is like, I know you ain't really mean to hurt my son, but Randall just jump in. Bitch, is your brother dead? Is your brother alive or what? Like, you idiot. This Randall and Jim is an example of like giving like a missile a destination, like giving a missile a target. Like, Randall already walk around this whole town with an attitude and a chip on his shoulder and angry all the time. And I peeked from the beginning. I said he was going to be trouble. I said Randall was going to be trouble. And Jim has just now put a battery in his bag. I heard the voice. Somebody talked to me. I think this is an experiment. Now they all into the people in on it. And of course, Sarah's just like, and this when Donna walks in. Because remember, Boyd was trying to find something for Sarah for her to be useful. So when he goes to the house and he's told about Elgin, during that time, he also asked Donna for a favor to make Sarah useful. So Donna come in like, the fuck is y'all doing in here? Like, what's going on at all possibly could be happening? Like, why would y'all be in here? And she pretty much asked Sarah if she can sew. That Boyd says she's trying to be useful. And Donna comes in with like a basket of clothes that, you know, need to be stitched up or whatever. And she pretty much hands Sarah the stuff like, okay, now y'all could just get the fuck out. And Randall, with his attitude, always is very convenient. You just so happen to show up when we asking her questions, and you know what you are? You a meter maid or something like that. He said to Donna, having an attitude and getting up in her face. And Jim was just like, oh, we gonna just go. And again, I'm confused, baby. Jim, how you like Randall more than you like Victor? This little display ain't troublesome to you, Jim? So we got Jim and Randall walking down the street. They done left the church. And Jim is just like, what was that? And Randall, what? Like, what was what? And Jim was just like, look, I saw the look on Sarah's face. She don't know nothing about anything. And Randall's like, oh, but Donna might. Because he feel like, oh, Donna, you know, you think you got a little power. You think you got a little pull. You think you running things. And he probably still sour about her kicking him out of Colony House and all that other crap. And, you know, because she the one kind of been strong arming him since they got in town, making him stay in that diner, you know, that first night with everybody else. And that he just holding a grudge. She got all that built up. But he just kind of like, you know, Donna might know something. And Jim is like, see, that's what we can't do. We can't just go around, you know, accusatory and making assumptions. We need to get some kind of proof. So Jim, bright idea, because for some reason, Jim can't tell that his new buddy is very unhinged. But Jim is a dumbass, and we all know that. So Jim's new plan is we need to see the monsters when they don't think anyone is watching. Because for some odd reason, Jim is on the wave and he believes the monsters ain't killed nobody, and maybe all the people that was killed really ain't killed. They were just in on it. So he tells Randall, tonight we're going to spend the night in the RV and we're going to watch the monsters when they don't know we're looking. First of all, this plan don't even make no sense. There is never a time the monsters don't know you looking. When Jim first arrives and his son, when he first rubbed me the wrong way and was in that RV with Christy and Boyd trying to help his son, the monsters just came up knocking on the window. So y'all weren't like looking out the window, calling out to them. They just came on over. I feel like the monsters just gonna know you there because they did in that scene. But anyway, that's his bright idea. We're going to stay out in the RV tonight and watch the monsters to see what they do and ain't nobody watching. I just kind of feel like, baby, what is Jim doing? But whatever. He an idiot and he get on my nerve, but I guess I'll give him a sliver of credit for at least trying to figure this thing out and not just complacently just being in the town. But he on my nerves. He been on my nerves, and this just whole thing just don't make no sense. Now we end up going to Jim and Julie, and Jim goes up to the diner asking where their mother is at, and he seemed to have an attitude. He get a little face when he's told that, oh, she went to Colony House and she going to talk to Victor. What is his bone to pick and axe to grind with Victor? I know y'all peeped that face he made when Ethan said, oh, she went to Colony House, and Julie was like, she went to talk to Victor because Jade was being mean to him. It's... How do you find Victor unnerving? Odd, yeah. Harmless though. But yeah, maybe odd, but harmless. How do you not find Randall completely unnerving and just unhinged? Like you running around town, cool with Randall, but you got an issue with poor little Victor, who may be emotionally stunted because of what happened to him. Whatever. But Jim ends up telling Julie that he's going to spend the night at the RV and that he has an idea that might get them home. Baby, you have an idea that might get us home. Why would you say that to your daughter? You ain't got no idea that might get us home. You have an assumption and a theory, and you're going to just go out and try to get information. None of that sounds like I have a plan that could get us home. Now, then we end up, when Jim leaves the diner, he runs into Donna, and she pretty much is like, are you some kind of moron? Yes, Donna. Yes, he is. But she kind of like, what is wrong with you? Because she know Randall unhinged. And Jim kind of go into telling her a little bit of their theory. And she's like, oh my God, did you tell Randall about the voice you heard? Jim lies and says he did not tell him about the voice. But I'm just like, Donna can peep the trouble that this kid is, but Jim cannot, and lies. And I kind of felt, I don't know. I was finna say you're lying because you know you're doing wrong, but we end up seeing Randall sitting on top of the bus watching this interaction with Jim and Donna. And I'm literally sitting there watching the show like, this ain't gonna be nothing but trouble. And I kind of feel like if Randall truly believes this theory that this is something that people are in on, why would you not suspect Jim? You're new in town. Jim could be in on this, kind of roping you into a fake little, investigation to try to keep you on a leash or keep, like, why would I not think Jim ain't in on it? I don't know. And I just was feeling like he already got an axe to grind with Donna. He don't like her. And he just trouble. But I feel like the way things are going with his character, the way we met him, it don't add up. This character we seeing is not the kind of character that's going to volunteer to help anybody. So, yeah, I'm not buying how he was introduced to us. But then we end up seeing Tabitha and Victor, and she goes to Colony House to go see him. And I'm trying to figure out what kind of time has gone by, because when we last saw Tabitha and Victor, Tabitha left the diner chasing behind Victor because, Jade was being an a-hole. Victor runs off down the street. Tabitha yells at Jade. And I thought she was going after Victor. So now we cut back to Victor and Tabitha, and she's like, thank you for the coat you gave Ethan. And he said he found that in the pocket. I'm just like, wait, when he tell you that? Because you ain't even interact with with your son? You came up in a diner with Jade, then you ran back out the diner to run behind him and Victor. So when did you get this information? I was very clueless at the time that had went by between that scene and then cutting back to them. But they having a conversation, and Victor, Tabitha is asking Victor, like, why didn't you tell Jade that we saw that symbol in the tunnels? But Victor is kind of like, you shouldn't ask questions. People go looking for answers and they never come back. That bad things happen when people go looking for answers. But Tabitha is kind of like, bad things happen here anyway. Like, whether you're looking for answers or not, bad things happen. But she's trying to tell him that we have to find answers. That's the only way out. But Victor is like, I don't think there's any way out. And Tabitha is trying to inquire, but Victor is kind of hesitant as per usual. And he's like, my mother said we're going home that night. The bad things happened. She said, and he kind of just trails off, and Tabitha tries to push, but Victor's like, I can't remember. But then he's like, the pictures might remember. And he tells her, because he draws the pictures for stuff that has happened so he don't forget it. But Tabitha is like, well, all your pictures were in the house when it collapsed. But he's like, no, not these pictures. I put them somewhere safe. And they go off, to go get those pictures. But then we cut to Boyd at Kenny them house. And Boyd is like, what happened to your arm? And Kenny kind of gives him this explanation. I managed to burn myself in my sleep or whatever, which I would have inquired on more if I was Boyd. Like, hold on, how you happen to burn yourself in your sleep? But Boyd just kind of goes on. He's like, well, Elgin had this idea for the bow of like a silver bullet kind of thing, which y'all, this ain't make no sense to me. The logistics of this don't make no sense. The plan is to take bullets, dip it in the bow, load it in the gun, shoot the monsters, and that's how we get the bow in them. But I'm thinking, how does this make sense? If I dip a bullet in, I don't know, a milkshake, and then load the gun with those milkshake bullet, and I fire it, is that really gonna end up putting milkshake in the wound when I fire it at somebody? Like, am I tripping? It just ain't make no sense to me. Like, I can see, like, a silver bullet is a bullet made of silver. Like, the actual silver is what we're firing. But to just dip a bullet in a liquid and then load it in a gun and fire it? I don't understand. Like, am I an idiot? Like, I could see if there was some way we could legitimately make a bullet and have the bow in the bullet and we're actually firing it, but to just dip the bullet in bow, it ain't making sense to me. But anyway, that's the new plan, okay? So Kenny and Boyd go to the clinic and they see Christy and her fiance. The fiance going through withdrawals, I'll just say. And they're going on about there's something happening in the basement or whatever. Like, they hear something downstairs. So Kenny is like, well, what was you doing downstairs? But the fiance just kind of like, do it matter? Nigga, I was trying to get high. I was looking for some drugs. Like, do it matter? I'm hurting here. But Kenny and Boyd go downstairs to investigate. And they start hearing this like rustling behind the door. And Boyd is trying to tell Kenny to get the fuck out of there. But, Kenny not doing that. Baby, is you still the deputy or what? But they end up opening the door. And the sheet is on the monster. And this ain't make sense to me. I was not on board with Kenny's idea, let's just burn it. But after we did what we needed to do with the body, I would have burned it. Like, why is the body still here? I'm not sleeping with this monster in here. I don't care if it's dead. I just didn't understand, once we got what we needed, why is the body still just sitting down there? But anyway, I thought, okay, so the sheet is on top of the monster and you could hear bugs and like see something crawling under the sheet. I thought it was the worms under the sheet crawling, but when Boyd flips the sheet back, it's the, y'all, what's these bugs called? Christy called them something. Did she call them centipedes? No, that don't sound right. I can't remember what she called them, but I feel like grasshoppers make that sound, and I kind of feel like they locusts. I don't know. But they lift the sheet back and they see the monster literally covered in bugs, the same bugs that were in Kenny's dream. And they get back upstairs with all four of them, and Kenny is telling them, I saw those bugs in my dream. And Chrissy then mentions Elgin drowning in water, spitting up dream thing. And then Kenny adds, I saw the music box, I was burned, and I woke up with the burn. They showed them the mark. I was shocked that Boyd wasn't like, music box? You saw a music box? Because Boyd kept saying a music box. So I don't know why that didn't click something for Boyd, but the tweaking fiance is like, you mean to tell me our dreams can hurt us now? So at this point, Donna come in. She said, she had a headache, and she coming in looking for Chris, and she like, why is y'all in here like the Scooby Gang? Like, what's going on? But she looking at the fiance like, you look terrible. What is going on? But then once Donna come in, the scene cuts and we go to Tabitha and Victor in the Valley of the Cars. And, because we're going to get those pictures, and Victor's still hesitant. It's like, you're a nice lady. Your son is my friend. I want to help, but I'm scared. And Tabitha is just kind of like, I know you're scared, but you have to be brave. You have to be brave, Victor. And Victor just kind of like, that's what my mother said to me the night the bad things happened. And then we cut back to Donna. This is what I mean. Like, we get like 90 seconds of one story and one group, then we just cut. I don't like how they're doing it and where in the sequence of stuff they're cutting the scene off and jumping to something else. It's just really irking me. But then again, like I said, it could just be me. But we cut back to Donna, who is upset with Boyd. At this point, when we cut back, it's just Boyd and Donna down in the basement at the door to where the monster is at. And she's upset that Boyd kept this from her, didn't say anything. And he's like, well, I didn't just want people to know. But she's like, since when am I just anybody? Like, you came, talked, looked me in my face, asked me for a favor, and did not tell me about this thing and everything that y'all got going on. And she's like, so you think y'all have a way to kill these things? And Boyd is just like, well, we got something that we're trying to figure out. We're just, got a way to try to figure some stuff out. And he's kind of, to me, kind of annoyed with her. And he's like, I'm telling you now. And Donna's like, no, I walked in on you. That's different. It's not the same thing. Now, when he opens the door for her to see the body, all the bugs are gone. And she tell Boyd, y'all need to burn this thing right now, which I don't know why they ain't been have that idea. And Kenny was all gung-ho about burning it. After we did what we needed to do, he just lost that idea? I don't understand why, whatever. Now, they end up talking about this whole dream thing. They're outside. We got the body wrapped in the sheet. We're putting it in like this little wood coffin thingy. And Boyd is saying how he thinks that burning this should get rid of what's been happening with the dreams, even though the bugs is gone. We don't know where the hell they went, but whatever. And that for now we need to sleep in shifts. And he tells Chrissy and her fiance he tells Chrissy that her and her fiance need to come to the church and sleep with him and Sarah. But she's like, I ain't sleeping under the same roof as that girl. And she says, we'll go to Colony House if it's okay with Donna. Now, we end up seeing Randall peeking and seeing what they doing. I said from the beginning, Randall ain't gonna be nothing but trouble. Now, we cut back to Tabitha and Victor opens the trunk and he finds the pictures and he started kind of like freaking out. And that's when he's like, these pictures aren't mine. And he flashes back and he remembers he has a sister, Eloise. And that flashback we keep seeing of Victor's mom leaving him and telling him not to come out, there was a sister with him. And the pictures, the pictures that we see, the toy or whatever that was in the jacket that in his memory was handed to him by his mother. It was actually his sisters. And when the mom tells him to stay down there and she leaves, it looks like the dungeon under the church. You know how it got those wood doors and we go down? That's what it looked like to me where they were hiding. The little sister is scared and she runs after the mom. But Victor stays hidden until the morning. And Victor just break down and it was so sad. The more we get about Victor, I just still like Victor. And I feel so bad for him. Child, I don't like the other ones that I already ain't like. And they ain't revealing nothing to make me like them. But Victor, still like Victor. He might get on my nerves sometimes, the way he clams up and don't want to say nothing. But I like Victor a whole lot more than some of the other folks. Now, we end up seeing Randall coming up to Donna. Like, I come in peace. I apologize sincerely. I just want to talk. And I swear to God, as the scene was playing, I was sitting there watching like, now, Donna, I hope you ain't falling for this bull. I pray you not falling for it. Because Donna already said, I know men like that. I know people like that. Like, Donna, please tell me you not falling for this. This ain't no apology. I'm like, he just like, oh, no, can we talk? We can talk right here in public where the hell we at. I'm not going off nowhere with you. I would not trust him. But the scene cuts. And all I could think when I was watching was, if anything happens to Donna, F y'all, I'm done. Like, if y'all dare kill off one of the few characters that I like and can actually tolerate and keep around all the insufferable characters, I'm done. You couldn't pay me to watch. Nothing better happen to Donna. That's all I know. That's all I got to say. Nothing better happen to Donna. Because the second I saw Randall come out to her with this conversation, after peeping and seeing Boyd and Donna them over there with that coffin, after all his attitude and everything that's been happening from the moment he got, introduced to us, I just had a bad feeling. I'm just like, if something happened to Donna, I'm going to be so pissed off. Now, we end up seeing Boyd and Kenny burning the body, and I was kind of confused. Because this should have started a forest fire, which is what I thought was going to happen. Because Donna wanted them to go pretty far out so that people don't see the smoke and get curious or whatever. But it was all kind of shrubbery. Ain't that what it's called? All around where they was burning the body. I thought the fire was going to spread, but I don't know. I guess maybe because we only put gasoline on the body and the fire didn't spread. I don't know, but I feel like it should have spread. But the body burning, and Kenny is like, the monsters that come out from the forest is one thing, but if monsters start coming out of our dreams, that's a scary I can't imagine. And Boyd is like, yeah. So then we jump back to Tabitha and Victor, and they got the pictures on the ground and looking at the pictures, and Boyd is just continuing the story of like, my mother told us to hide. I was supposed to protect her, but she got scared and she ran off. And Tabitha is just kind of like, you were just a kid, Victor. And she ends up getting like one picture that's catching her eye, Tabitha, and it looks to me like the picture is that tower that Boyd was in when he found Martin. Or was it a picture of the lighthouse? I don't think it was the lighthouse though. I think it was a picture of that tower that Boyd said Martin was in, and said like it just disappeared. That's what it looks like to me. And Tabitha asks Victor, like, what is this picture? And Victor tells her, Eloise said that's where our mother went to save the children locked in the tower. But I'm also confused, unless I'm mixing something up. I could have sworn this must be something different, because remember, Victor tells a story about Christopher killing everybody and how his mother told him to hide somewhere new. He woke up, everybody was dead. And he's telling a story about the night the bad things happened. I thought that is the same night that Christopher went crazy and everybody ended up dead. So I'm not sure how Eloise could have told him that's where our mother went the night the bad things happened if he got out the next morning and everybody was dead. Unless I'm mixing up two different events, and the night the bad things happened and the night that Christopher killed everybody, that's two different nights. I could be mixing that up because y'all know I ain't very invested in this show at this point. So maybe I'm mixing stuff up. Now, then we end up seeing Kenny and Boyd. They're going past the diner and they see Julie, Ethan, Kenny's mom. And, you know, they talking about doing work or whatever. And then we hear the grasshoppers. And all of a sudden, some guy come out of the house running, screaming, covered in blood, talking about help. I need help. Somebody please. Did Freddy Krueger attack somebody else? I don't know what that was about. But baby was covered in blood. Did the grasshoppers kill somebody? Because why did we hear the grasshoppers at the time he was running out of the house covered in blood? Now, we end up seeing Dumb and Dumber. We see Jim walk head into the RV. And he's walking past the car that's on the side of the road that Jade them came in. And for some reason, the car catches his attention and he's looking through the windows and he notices the trunk is open and it looks like some blood in the trunk. And he's going in the woods and he's like, Randall? And that's when we hear Donna say, Jim, Randall has Donna tied to a tree. He's holding a knife. Jim is like, what the fuck are you doing? And Randall just like, new plan. Now do you understand your new buddy is unhinged? Y'all, this done pissed me the hell off. This done pissed me the hell off. I can't even trust Jim to fight Randall and save Donna because he got a bum leg. First of all, I wouldn't think he win in the fight even if he was fully whole and healthy, but he hurt from the house collapsing. And he ain't got no weapon. We all on the outskirts of town. It is about to be dark. There's no one that's going to just so happen to come over here unless they just write it like that. But how in the hell is Donna going to make it out of here? Because also, I was finna say, even if Jim can get her untied, we on the outskirts of town. We can't go run nowhere, but I guess you could run and try and hide in the RV. But Randall gotta die. Randall gotta die. Period. Randall gotta go in the box. I want Randall to go in the box. Jim can watch through the window as Randall gets killed so it can debunk his theory that people that's dead ain't really dead. And it'll debunk the theory for Randall because his ass being again ripped up to shreds. And he'll know, hey, I was wrong. Thank you so much for watching this video, for supporting the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.